You're listening to the New World to Go podcast with your hosts, Redbyrd and BDLG.
Hello and welcome to another episode of New World to Go. I'm your host, Redbyrd, and with me is BDLG. Bordy, we got a loaded show tonight.
Yes, we do, man. We got a lot to discuss.
All right, so let's hop right in here. We got probably the most anticipated Touring Aeternum episode, and that is Shattered Mountain. Now, Bordy, the Shattered Mountain is obviously what used to be, and probably still is, one of the premier in-game zones in New World. So, Bordy, this is going to obviously be heavily corrupted, as you saw from the video. But dude, there's a lot of interesting things up in that mountain as well. So what do you think about the Touring Aeternum Shattered Mountain series?
I like it, man. We've said it a bunch of times on the show, and Touring Aeternum series is a really good one. Now, I don't know about the fashion show video they recently released. I think that one might have been a little bit questionable, but the armor in that video was dope, though, for sure. But the Touring Aeternum, wrapping it up with Shattered Mountain, I think that's the last one they're going to do. I'm pretty sure that they mentioned that. So I didn't know how many they were going to do or what they were going to include, but I'm really glad they included the Shattered Mountain, because that is kind of one of the premier zones, or I guess really the premier zone of the game so far. It will be on launch. And man, it's cool. I like the area. It's very dark. There's a lot of things to explore there. There's a lot of hard content there, a lot of fun stuff there, a lot of big bosses, a lot of open world stuff going on there. I think there's a lot of stuff they can add to Shattered Mountain as time goes on. We've talked before about maybe the portal above Shattered Mountain and all those things. They didn't talk about that in the Touring Aeternum video, but the video is good, man. I liked it, and I think for new players coming in, or even players like us, it was enjoyable to watch, to see everything that's in the Shattered Mountain, and kind of a good introduction to that zone for maybe people who haven't ever experienced it before.
Now, this zone reminds me so much of what is it, Suramar and Lord of the Rings, where like the wizard was like gathering the orc forces and like getting ready to attack Middle Earth.
Yeah.
Yo, that is it just got that vibe, and I think they have the ability to expand this zone. Like this might be like, as they build Aeternum and kind of build it around this centered area, this mountain in the center of Aeternum that seems to have that portal above it, they're going to be able to add more and more to this zone. Obviously, dude, the aesthetics look amazing as usual. The corrupted aesthetic is really something that is begin to be like a calling card for New World and all their advertisement. So it's just cool to see these zones. Like I love that one scene in the Touring Aeternum video with it had that like it looked like a forge, like a massive forge with like 6 barrels of like hot molten metal. Like, dude, that is a sick looking sight. And dude, it'll be exciting to see what that looks like in game.
Yeah, for sure. It was enjoyable to watch. Yeah.
All right, so if you guys haven't seen this, they post these on their Twitter account. The video is playing right now, obviously beside us without sound, but if you want to look at it with sound and hear, I enjoy the narration of these videos. Is pretty cool. A lot of extra tidbits about the zone, so you should go check that out over there on Twitter. And this, I think,
on their YouTube too. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. So Twitter or YouTube, probably YouTube for functionality. But this is the last of the Touring Aeternum series, which seems weird. They haven't really done all the zones, but they did say this is the last video.
Yeah, I think they just hit the high points. They probably just chose a few to do, and then they did them, and I'm glad they did them. They were enjoyable.
Yeah,
I think they want to
really
leave a few to be explored, you know?
Well, Bordy, listen, what's the fun in that, man? No, you know what I mean? We just need all the information, and then, and then we'll have something to do. But closed beta, I mean, dude, it's coming quickly. It is insane how quick. We're like 3 weeks away. From
21 days, 23 hours, 57 minutes, and 38 seconds. How'd you like that, dude?
Per the countdown on New World fans, you're misguiding our audience here. He does not have that memorized. Okay.
No, I have the clock. It's an internal thing.
If you want to also pretend like you memorized the time, we have a counter over there at New World fans that keeps us, is now causing anxiety because we have so much work to do, Bordy. But
we do, yes, we do.
But it used to be cool to be like, yo, it's only 2 months away, and now we're like 3 weeks away, and it's like, oh no, we have lots.
What
of
are we gonna do?
yeah.
We've got a lot of stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, I enjoyed the series. That's sad to see that it's ended, but yeah, I'm ready to actually play the game and explore these zones for sure.
Without a doubt.
So real quick, you did mention the fashion show, and so we'll just talk a little bit about that before we jump into the June patch notes, dude. So all right, it was if you haven't seen it already, it's basically to feature some of the new armor sets. That's what I took from it, anyways. Is like they wanted to show off some of the newly in-game armor sets. The way they went about it, and here's my complaint about it, and I know you have one too. Dude, I was like building up New World to be like this Dark Souls, like really dark and dreary world of like, like all like these people trapped on this like island, surviving and like, facing like evil and demons and corruption and all these things. And then this video came out and it reminded me of The Sims, bro. For some reason, it just reminded me of like The Sims 3 or something. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe no more of these videos, please. But I love the armor sets. I'll say the art team did an amazing job on these new armor sets. But the presentation of the video, I was not a fan of. For sure.
Yeah, I wasn't either, man. And you're right. That's really why I wasn't a fan, is because you're absolutely right. You hit the nail on the head. The game is very dark, and I know what they're trying to do here with it. It's kind of a quirky, funny video that they're releasing to show off the armor. I get it, and it is what it is, and it's not, let's not read too much into it, I guess. But it doesn't fit the theme at all of the game, and it was just kind of like, this is. Whatever. I did enjoy looking at the armor sets, though. Wasn't too much of a fan of the actual video, but I got a good laugh out of it whenever I watched it. But there was one in particular armor set in there that I found to be freaking awesome, dude. The guy with the hood with the full face mask. It's not like a full helmet. It looks like he has on maybe medium armor. It looks more like a rogue style type of armor. It looks incredible. I really, really liked that one. There was one helmet in there that looked.
Here it is, dude.
Yeah. That looks incredible, man. And then there was one helmet in there that looked weird. It's like purple and white shoulders. And then there's like this, I don't know, like a nest on the top of the head. I don't know, man. Almost like it's at the beginning of the video somewhere. Whenever they show they show an above view of that person. Anyway, you don't have to find it, but it just looked goofy. But overall, I think the armors look good. It's nice to see new armor in the game, and that was the whole point of the video, was to showcase some of these armors. So I'm glad they did something to showcase them, but maybe in a little different tone would have been good.
Well, one of the things I can, compliment them on, whoever wrote the video, is the medical terminology use of BM. People look at me strange when I refer to feces or poop as BM, and it's nice to see that someone else also understands that phrasing. So I mean, like you would laugh how many actual times I've written about someone taking a poop at work. So it's good to see someone else knows the terminology of BM. Overall, dude, these sets look great. I think that they're doing an amazing job at diversifying the appearance of the armor in the game. They've added over 50, in the first part of June, and even in this last patch, that we're going to talk about right now, they added even more sets. So, dude, I'm stoked to play Fashion Show. Obviously, that's a lot of people's in-game and MMOs, so I can understand the approach of Fashion Week Aeternum, but I'll be the internet dad here, Bordy. You do it enough, I'll take over. It's not my preference. There's no doubt about it. It was I would rather see these people in this armor like crush them face, but it is what it is, man. You can't win them all. Overall, I thought it was a cool way to present, or not a cool way, but it was cool to see those armor sets. We'll say that.
Yeah.
All right, dude. So let's hop right in here with the June Alpha update. This is part 2, of course. We covered part 1 in a different podcast, so you can go check that out if you happen to miss that. We're hitting the high notes here, fellas, because truth be told, these patch notes are, again, they're cleaning things up. They're getting ready to launch the game, and they're not adding a butt ton of new stuff here. So we're going to go through the new stuff or the changes that we think are important to note. And then, we'll cover these here and there through YouTube videos this week, I'm sure. But we just actually did one yesterday. It'll be yesterday if you're watching this. It'll be today if you're listening on the podcast. We covered the new changes to the salvaging system, which is dope. I think these are really, really good changes, and they promote, good player-driven economy and all that jazz. So go watch that video now. Bordy, so let's hop right in here, dude. They added some stuff that I thought was really good and insightful in the faction mission category. Which are 2 new PvE faction missions, which is Assassinate and Elite. So Assassination mission. Am I saying that right?
Assassinate missions.
Assassinate missions. Challenge players. Yeah. Okay. Oh, sorry. So, these Assassinate missions challenge players to take out specific high threat foes.
I like that. Yeah.
So, and then Elite missions send players to take on Aeternum's most dangerous villains and their minions. These missions are higher difficulty with a higher reward. It is recommended that you bring a friend. So it's cool that now they're a group faction missions. Bordy, dude, here's one thing that maybe you were thinking the same thing. When I saw Assassinate missions, I thought, this might be like a cool way to like put a price tag or like a price on someone in PvP and the PvP missions that was kind of killing people. But
yeah, that would be really cool. And maybe at some point we'll see something like that for sure. Whenever I seen Assassinate, I didn't even know that it was PvE at first. I kind of missed that part. My eyes drew straight to the Assassinate missions part. And I instantly thought, oh man, and then I seen it's PvE. But either way, like I wasn't too disappointed because the PvE missions did need some love in New World. The faction missions, they were rather stale and you kind of ran around and did the same thing over and over. I know that's been a big complaint. And so this is very, very good information or very, very good news here. The Assassinate missions and the Elite missions, I think, are both really good. You go take out a specific high threat foe. That's going to be a fun fight. You're going to run over there. You're going to take out a mob that's going to be tough to beat. Then the Elite missions, you're going to have a group with you. It's going to be another high-end mob that spawns, probably adds. And I think that type of stuff is going to be fun. Whenever you mix that in with the go here, grab these missions, that way it doesn't get too boring, man. It won't get too stale. You're going to be doing a lot of other things, and those are good, man. I like them.
For sure. And, again, I think they'll continue to work on these faction missions. They're going to be a big part of the game with territory control and influence and everything like that. So they can, it's a system they can continue to work on and add more diversity, and that will, make those more interesting to run, like you said. War declaration. This is a big one, fellas. You guys are interested in, again, the changing over of the territories and control and everything. So war declaration has been updated to reward the most active company in the influence race with a higher chance of being selected as the Vanguard. Now, the Vanguard is the team or the guild or company, that is assigned to be in charge of defending or attacking the settlement. Now, this is important because now that used to be random. Which a lot of people complained about because basically there was like a loophole that you could kind of go in the last minute and do like a little bit of something and then be, in equal chance in the lottery to be the Vanguard. So now all companies in a faction are no longer eligible to declare war when a territory is thrown into a conflict state. To be eligible, a company must have contributed at least 10% of the total influence required to throw the territory into conflict. In the unlikely event that no companies contributed over 10%, any company will be eligible to declare war. So, dude, technically, they're limiting down to only 10 companies will be in a lottery to be the Vanguard, and that'll be pretty impressive. Only 10 get 10%. Or, each 10 get only 10%. That would be like a pretty rare thing that it'd be 10. There's probably most likely going to be about 4 or 5 people at most. So, these are big changes to the Vanguard system, Bordy, for sure.
Yeah, and in a positive way, without a doubt, because before if you did all the work, if your company did all the work to undermine the territory, and then you did not get selected to the Vanguard, or you felt like you did all the work, and then your chances to get selected as the Vanguard was the same as a company who did next to nothing, that doesn't feel good, man, because then whenever that doesn't leave you a lot of incentive to want to go take your company, try to undermine territories or try to put in the work to undermine the territories. Now you will. Now your company is going to be working to try to undermine the territories. So you can be one of the 10%. So you can be the Vanguard. And then the Vanguard also is the company, if you win the siege, that's the company that's going to be able to control that territory. And so then the governor of the Vanguard, of the company that was selected to be the Vanguard, will be the controller of the territory to set the taxes and all that jazz. So it's important to be selected as the Vanguard. You want to be. That's the whole point of trying to undermine these territories. So this is a really, really good change, I think. Yeah, it still leaves room for a lot of people to be able to participate. It still leaves room for a lot of companies to want to try to undermine the territory. And I think 10% is a pretty good number there. So great change, man. I was very happy to see this.
Yeah, for sure. So here's the last part of this. If more than one company declares war on the same territory during conflict, the amount of influence a company contributed towards the conflict increases its chance to be selected as the Vanguard. So again, another important part of this system is rewarding people that are active in this effort. But one of the things that concerns, I think one of the reasons that they had it at random at first, is our like one or two companies in a faction going to be the ones that basically control all of the territory because of size or activity.
Well, and I think that's why the at least 10% of the total influence required is good. And it's not the company that contributes the most to that, right? Because you're right. That would exclude a lot of people, because you're going to have companies that are so hardcore that would be the company that's the Vanguard every time, no matter what. They would be the Vanguard every time because they're going to be on all the time. They're going to be playing all the time, and it would leave no room for anybody else. So that's why I said before that at least 10%. I think is a pretty good sweet spot, right? Because that does allow a lot of other people to contribute. Even the more casual guilds can probably hit that 10% on an occasional basis to have a chance to be selected as a Vanguard. So I like that change a lot. I really hope they don't push it any further than that and make it to where it is so elite that only the elite of the elite companies can be the Vanguard, because that's just not fun either. That's not fun for casual players, and 90% of your people playing an MMO are going to be more casual players.
Exactly. So speaking of PvP, dude, and here's some good changes and some phrasing that I like to hear as a PvP player.
Yeah.
In a continued effort to support PvP, we've reduced gear's durability loss during PvP death, increased XP for PvP kills, and adjust camp respawning mechanics to make faction control point battles more interesting. So here we go, dude. Me and you, this is a very frequent complaint we had about the camp system in PvP, is you could just basically abuse it as a respawn point. It oftentimes in battle give you an advantage because you were the first person to respawn with full health and reduced cooldowns. Yep. So players flagged for PvP receive 50% less durability damage to equipment when killed by another player. That's important to note. So if you're killed by another player, then you get a 50% reduction in durability loss. Increased the XP players gained for PvP kills and added rewards for players that have been alive longer. This kind of lines up with our assassination wish, Bordy. Killing a player that has been active for a long time, longer than an hour, will now report 4 times the XP that there used to be. That's pretty crazy, bro. I mean, we might be able to go around and level up PvP, but you have to catch people that have been flagged for a long time. When flagged for PvP, choosing to respawn at a camp activates an incrementally increasing respawn cooldown. So as you die or as we respawn at your camp, the next time you want to respawn at the camp, there will be a larger cooldown. Bordy, this has got to be, I think, at least somewhat of a deterrent of respawning at camps, and eventually, hopefully, making it like impossible, depending on how big the increment is that they're increasing the cooldown.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. This is an enormous change, one that we've been vying for a very long time, because the abuse of camps in PvP was a real thing. It happened all the time. We've talked about it, told our stories about it during the preview event many, many times. But this is great, man. It just says for each subsequent camp respawn, this cooldown increases. We don't know how much the cooldown increases or how much the cooldown is, but even if it's like 2 minutes, man, you can fight and have another fight in 2 minutes. That gives you at least a little bit of time to kind of regroup. And then if they die again, that's going to increase the respawn timer even more and more and more. So this is good. I would imagine we'll have to adjust the time on the respawn timers. I think that'll probably just be something that's fine-tuned over time, but at least this is in the game, and I couldn't be happier, man. This is a very, very good thing.
Sure. So they've already kind of displayed the ability to separate the death from a PvP or a PvE type of source. So maybe they eventually might have to look at, well, if you're killed in PvP, then there is a wait to spawn at your camp from the jump. Because as of right now, they created a cooldown after subsequent respawns, but that first respawn is still immediate. So that's important to know. So you still be able to respawn at your camp as of right now if you die in PvP, but then the next time you spawn there, there'll be a cooldown.
Yeah.
Depending on how long the cooldown is, we don't know yet. But Bordy, overall, some pretty good changes there in the PvP category. It's good to see that for sure.
Yeah, I would agree.
So here's some real quick overviews of some changes they made. They've made a lot of changes to XP. Obviously, they're trying to titrate the leveling process to make it feel good. They reduced the amount of XP required to level by 20% for all levels after 7. They just basically stated that they overtuned it in the June part 1, so they had to back it off a little bit. They doubled the XP from repeatable expedition quests, so it seems to be a viable way to level, or at least on paper, to rerun expeditions, Bordy, because you're going to have repeatable quests there. Town projects have been fixed, improved, and adjusted. That's good. That was kind of a pretty what's the word I'm looking for here? Non-interesting.
Mundane.
Yeah, mundane system that was almost like unrewarding as a whole. You weren't getting a lot of XP for those, so they retuned those. Very good. Reduced the XP bonuses granted for leveling up territory standings. Adjusted amount of territory standings gained from crafting, which is always good. Quests that award specific items now award items aligned with the intent of the level of the quest. This is also good. That was always a big problem. Like you do a level 50 quest and then you get a gray piece of gear. Not always the biggest incentive to do quests when you're not getting rewarded for them.
Yeah, for sure.
Increased trade skill XP for crafting and decreased trade XP for craft. These are all like titration to make these feel good. Loot and gear, this is kind of an important or an interesting thing because we kind of mentioned the fashion show. We've continued to add much more visual diversity in-game weapons and armor sets. Faction-heavy Tier 5 armor sets have new, unique visuals with each looking different for each faction. Dude, this is pretty sick because, basically it was like no matter what gear you were getting for light or heavy, you always had the same look. And now, dude, there's going to be different sets of armor for each faction. It's going to be really cool to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they've done this a little bit over the past few patches too. And this is just talking specifically about heavy tier 5 armor sets. I think they've done all the other ones or some of the other ones. I think if I remember right from the other patch notes, this is huge because the faction armor during the preview, if we think back that far, they were all the same. And there was no reason, like, you got to have a reason to choose a faction, man. And if it's simply that faction's armor looks way cooler than another faction's armor, in your opinion, and that's the reason you choose that faction, well, dude, that's a pretty good reason to choose that faction, in my opinion. Like, you want that armor. It gives you that tie to that faction. And so this is good. They need to make them unique, and hopefully they'll continue to lean into that uniqueness of each faction. That's a good little note there.
Yes, they also continue to change the appearance of drops based off of where you get them. So Lost, Ancient, Corrupted, Angry Earth, they're all going to drop these unique looking items. I think it's great, dude. Dynasty Shipyard Expedition weapons, they increase they're basically like going to make sure that whatever activity you're doing, you're going to get some unique looking piece of gear from it. And it's exactly what you want from like a theme park type MMO. Improved expedition drops by increasing the chance of expedition armor and weapons will drop in with one more perk than they did previously. Now, this is going to be important because it's going to set those expedition pieces of gear and armor apart from the rest of the gear that you can obtain in Aeternum.
Yep, absolutely. I think that's good as well.
Yeah, so a lot of good changes here. These are pretty minute, though. They're basically some titrations to the current systems here. Here's a big change, and then we did cover this in our video, but we'll go over it in this at short depth, shallow. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know what the word is. I'm having trouble.
You rarely do.
Yeah, true. Big true and real. All right, so so basically when you destroy items, now you will no longer get the material that the item was made of. This is huge for the simple fact that it places the power of gaining these pieces of material back into those people that have leveled up their gathering to max level. So when you're destroying a tier 5 piece of armor to get a cornium, oh my gosh, dude, the ore that was made from, you're not going to get that anymore. You're going to need to have that gathering skill and able to get that for crafters.
Yes, very, very, very good change for sure. You want your gatherers to feel important, and whenever you salvage the gear and you got back a portion of that material, it really did kind of devalue your gatherers. And so now by changing it to gold, now whenever you salvage, you get gold versus material. So you still get your repair parts and you get gold. It's a very good change, without a doubt. I'm so glad they did that.
Yes, very good for the player-driven economy. We like to see these titrations because I think it's going to be important in New World. The crafting and gathering is so good that you want to drive players towards those features of your game, and support that part of the community that really enjoys those type of things. They tuned repair kits, the cost of them, basically. The only significance there is it's going to cost more repair parts to make these, but that's important because these are, and Bordy pointed this out in the video, these are things that you can sell to other players. So typically, to get repair parts, you're going to have to destroy gear of your own doing, and here you're going to be able to buy these repair parts from the trading post. So they titrated the amount of repair parts that we need to make these, which is probably just some feedback from how many people are making repair parts in the alpha. So overall, a good change. It's something they're going to have to continue to work on because it's economy type stuff. You don't want to belittle someone's hard work, for sure.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, it's good to see them continuing to iterate and work on the crafting and the gathering system in New World, because that was kind of a point of concern of mine for a long time. And over the past couple of months, man, they've done so many changes to make this economy work and make the crafting and gathering work. I think there's still some things they're going to have to do, but it's definitely headed in the right direction. And it is so much better than it was a couple months ago. So I'm incredibly excited for all the changes they've been making. They've been pushing the game in a very good direction now.
Yes, for sure. Now, here's another big thing that they changed is titles and achievements. They got feedback from the alpha. I guess it was too easy to obtain a bunch of titles, and a bunch of people have like these like nonsensical titles of their UI, and there was some feedback that basically like these are kind of silly or pointless. That now they've made sure that there are a lot of titles in the game, but they're all from like things that are relatively hard to achieve. That way, there's something you feel like you have earned that feels special.
Yeah.
So there is that. They redid the intro cinematic, so that's good. Other things are basically, a bunch of bug fixes, 259 bug fixes. They changed the AI and the expeditions, which is pretty crazy. So that they're 10 to 20% harder. So that's good, dude. I don't think a lot of people complain about something being too hard per se, but it's good that they're paying attention to that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. As we go through these things, I can't help but think like how different the game was several months ago versus now. Like there was so many concerns that I had in my mind, and all of these changes, man, that they have been making are, dude, it's nuts. The game is completely different and in a good way. These changes are crazy, man.
Yeah, and I think there would, to your point, there was initial concern because they switched over from a survival game to a theme park MMO, and a lot of people said, well, those features aren't there yet, and they spent the past year getting them there.
I know they delayed for a long time, but man, the turnaround on the change of the game has been pretty impressive, to be honest, man. The game is completely different and in a really good way. They changed the direction and now they're iterating on that and pushing it forward. And man, the amount of work that they have done over the past 8 months to a year has been pretty incredible. Yes, I agree. And it's going to be exciting to see the closed beta. The NDA drops, people are going to be able to play it and stream it and share it. And it's going to be an exciting time for New World fans for sure. The rest of the changes, guys, are just like changes to some statistics and some minor tweaking to weapons. These don't mean a lot because I think they're going to continue to get adjusted until the game launches. Even after closed beta, they'll put out a balance patch. So a lot of these are going to be obsolete anyways. So if you want to look at them, go over there and check out New World Fans. We have it posted over there, as well as the official New World website for the rest of those patch notes. But overall, that's what it is, boys. Again, a lot of tweaking to get this game ready for launch. And we can't be more excited to read these because it means we're getting closer, dude. We are getting closer. So that's it for the patch notes, guys. Here is we have a company of the week this week, and it is the Stray Dogs. Bordy. Yeah. All right. So the Stray Dogs are Region and A Faction Syndicate. Let's go, dude. Language English. They're PVX focused, size 26 to 50. They are currently recruiting. So it says they are a PVX company, but they're going to have some focus on the warring system. So they believe in a community-driven company influenced by the members. They want friendly members that strive to be successful and take over territory together in the world of Aeternum. So it looks like a great group to be a part of. They have a lot of veteran MMO players. They say they're going to be a competitive group. They want to be an active community with active members. And they said what they're looking for is players that are going to be active from launch. They want company participation and contribution, players that enjoy growing together as a company, and English-speaking members. So we'll leave links to the Stray Dogs everywhere this podcast can be found, and you can go check them out and then join their Discord and join their company, man. Go join the Stray Dogs, dude. Be a syndicate company because that's the only way to go. It's true. Guys, we thank you so much for creating your accounts over there at New World Fans, for promoting your companies, for making your builds. We really appreciate it. Taken works really hard on all that programming and everything, and me and Bordy are pouring our souls into guides. So we just thank you. We're very thankful for the support, especially to our Patreon patrons over there at Patreon. Obviously, your names get ran in the credits after our YouTube videos because you guys are dope. You're awesome. Yeah. You're all awesome, to be completely honest. But Bordy, that about does it, man. Yep. We, this is episode 73. So we're coming up on the 7.5, bro. We're a quarter of a way at that point to a century's worth of episodes. That's pretty crazy, man. Hey, do you still have Stray Dogs pulled up? Do you still have their company pulled up? Yeah, I do. Yeah, click on their logo, man, and watch the magic, bro. Really cool logo, by the way. Dude. I'm jealous of all these logos. Yeah, it's incredible, man. Well, it looks nice. It didn't come up centered on the screen, but they get the point. Yeah. Yo, okay. Yeah, all right. Yo, yeah, go to the website and check that out. That's cool, bro. Yeah. I didn't know it was that. It's cool. I didn't know it was cool. Animated. All right, cool. Yeah. Hey, man, we got to step the Revenant game up, dude. We might have to get a... I know, man. We don't even have a logo on there. Hey, man, but we did. If you haven't joined the Discord, go join the Discord. We just got an animated... we got some pretty dope people over there. They've been boosting our server, and we got an animated icon over there. So check that out. Not as cool as this one, Stray Dogs, but it's cool. So go check that out, guys. Thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate it, dude. We got some OGs in this community, man. We've been doing this podcast now for well over a year, and we got some people that have listened to every episode. It's just cool to hear people. That are excited and that have been listening to our podcast, and this is kind of getting them hyped for the game. That is like high praise in my book, dude. It's awesome to know that we're part of a community that looks forward to playing New World. So thank you guys for making us part of that. We really appreciate it, and we will see you next time on another episode of New World to Go.